What is happening there, J Gaming Dude here? And as much as I've been bagging on Xbox about closures, the removal of large numbers of staff in order to make themselves look good, it's kind of been a disaster on that end. But that's not to say that PlayStation hasn't had their fair share of closures, staff being fired and whatever have you in between. Again, neither side is particularly good, it's just that one side looks so much worse that it's not even funny. Honestly, you might look at the whole situation and be like, wow, this feels almost hysterically like a comedy, but then when you realize that people's actual lives are at stake, it then absolutely comes off more so as a tragedy. So let's talk about the storied history of PlayStation and the loss of another studio. I still lament the loss of specifically Japan's studio. I feel like that studio had so much energy, so much uniqueness, so many great ideas, and made so many good games, and were a part of so much of the PlayStation DNA that we as PlayStation gamers have been around since, especially during the PS1, PS2 days. Japan studio, you will be missed, but another studio that will be missed is London Studios. PlayStation London Studios is now officially shutting down. Well, they announced to be shut down a while ago, but now it is official. They are no longer going to be making games, and lately, while they have been more so in the support space for games, that's why you see the London Studio logo in a lot of different places, more specifically, they've been working more so in the VR space. And this actually does make me question the viability of VR, especially when PlayStation is the one helming the device in question. Because when it comes to PlayStation VR 2, there has not been enough games on PlayStation VR, especially from a first-party perspective. Actually, you know what? There are a lot of games. It's just that there aren't anywhere near as much games as there was for PSVR 1. I just kind of wish Sony supported the system more, because it feels like it's going down the path of what PS Vita was, where PlayStation Vita was supported only for so long, and then when Sony stopped supporting it, all of the third party went off in droves, with the exception of Japanese developers, because the PS Vita was still doing incredibly well in Japan, and so Japanese developers were actually picking up the slack and keeping the console going for longer. And to this day, I still say, personally for me, it is my favorite console of all time. It is a handheld that has had nothing but Japanese games on it, and I bloody love it for all of that. Even though it had some incredibly questionable games, the fact that the hardware was what it was, that it had a touchscreen, a trackpad at the back, you could work everything together and do some really weird, like, sort of rubbing, touching, or whatever have you with, like, anime characters on, like, different games that were on there. Like, really, I just cannot say enough just how much I enjoyed playing games on that system, and still continue to do so even now to this day. It just feels unfortunate that VR has very much been tossed aside, and the main studio that's been working on it has also been tossed aside in equal capacity, as now London Studios has now shut down after 20 years. And the messages that they leave behind, again, truly heartbreaking in equal capacity, because again, you don't need to make a good game, but they've been around so long that it does feel like we're losing a part of ourselves. However, I don't think there is actually going to be any genuine outrage about this, at least as far as we're aware. So let's sort of jump into this, but the tweets on Twitter look like this. So from London Studios: for over 20 years, London Studio has been home to some exceptionally talented and wonderful people in the games industry, the studio said. As we close the doors and all go forward to new adventures, we wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to all our past and present players and colleagues who have supported us over the years. We've had one wild and wonderful journey. Yeah, I mean, again, when it comes to experimental games, when it comes to pushing hardware, I have just learned this right now, but London Studios originally made iToy games, which was like the first real like push to like additional accessories to the PlayStation console, with stuff like SingStar, PlayStation VR with PSVR Worlds, Blood and Truth, and yeah, they've been making so many good things over the years. They will be missed 100%. Am I mad at Sony for it? No, not necessarily. Because with all of the closures, all of the cancellations, all of the people losing their jobs, this feels so much lesser than what we've seen up until now, and I kind of worry about the fact that like there may be some level of desensitization going on, especially with people losing their jobs and companies shutting down, and it happening in vast numbers. Consider what happened with Xbox earlier on this year, where they let go of about a very large number of people. It was like nearly 2,000 people they let go, 1,900 so to speak. But yeah, gaming industry has lost over 10,000 people have lost their jobs in the first 5 months. And consider that in 2023, across the entire year, 10,500 people lost their jobs within the industry. In 2024 alone, we have, in the first 5 months, eclipsed the entirety of job losses in 2023. But it is what it is, and there's very little that I can do as someone who is talking into a microphone that's being recorded by OBS, and that will likely find itself on YouTube. With all of that being said and done, let me know what you guys think about all of the situation in the comments below. It's a far more somber video than I would normally talk about, but you know, it comes from the heart, of course, and we're just going to miss out on a lot with London Studios gone, because again, they were the experimental guys. They always pushed tech in interesting ways, again, from iToy to PSVR to PSVR 2, though unfortunately it seems like Sony have kind of given up on PSVR 2, and there's some level of that being shown here with the closure of London Studios, but that may be me overreaching with theories a little bit too much. But let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I may move 200 subs by the end of the year, and with all that said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.